But seeing as you're here, do you want to talk about your newsletter a bit more?
Yeah, 100%.
If anyone does, I mean, I've only got really half an hour today, but if you want to, I think you've made an amazing start.
Yeah, thank you.
Really.
Yeah, it went in leaps and bounds from your first attempt to sort of looked around and, picked up a few ideas that I thought were suitable, I guess,
Yeah.
I like the idea of putting that quick little agenda at the top so you knew what was in it without wasting your time. And then, that's what I found with other ones that I, was subscribed to. I thought, that sort of gives you an idea, because especially when you're going through your hundreds of emails that turn up and you're quickly trying to figure out what's worth to look at and what's not.
Yep. So let me give you, I don't know, can I share my screen? Hey.
No, that's right. Yeah. There is a learning curve.
No, hang on a second. Cancel. Maybe I can just do it through the usual way. Yeah, look at that. How about that? You can see my screen now, can't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So let me just try and download as much as I can about emails and things like that, for the next 10, 15 minutes. ChatGPT has got this great, if you don't get half the battle of getting someone to read your email is the subject line, right? So if your subject line is not compelling, then all the time you've wasted, all the time you spent reading the email is kind of lost. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So,
yeah, you get used to some people. It is just a way to get you to open it up, but it's got nothing to do with it sometimes.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, I know, right? That's annoying. But what I have been doing is there is a GPT that I use a lot called Catchy Email Subject Lines.
Okay.
And what I tend to do is, let's find your email out of my email. Well, let's just go to Substack, actually, because I did subscribe to you.
Yeah, it took a little while to get it set up, and it's not quite there as far as the URL and the links, because I've used an old website. However, it's still holding on to something else I've used to sign up in Substack earlier on at some point. So I'm trying to get rid of that.
Oh, right. Yeah, hang on. We'll come to that. We'll see if we can solve that together. I just need to get my sign up link right here. Oh, come on, Substack. Oh, let's see. Doesn't want to talk to me. Huh. Just wonder if Substack. Okay, here we go. Let's try this one. It looks like it's working. So what I would do here and how this would work is here's your newsletter. So the way you would use it is you'd copy and paste the whole thing. I like the video. That's a nice touch too.
Yeah, that's one I'd done a little while. I did a whole series around Narrabeen on everything, so I can pull them up occasionally.
Yeah. There's no reason why you can't reuse them if they're evergreen. But I've just copied your text, right? And now I'm going to go over to this catchy email subject lines and just paste your text. So I'm just going to paste your text in there, and it's going to give me like 20 choices of catchy subject lines.
Right.
Tried and tested some of the best email marketers, There you go. Surprising story behind Narrabeen.
Yep.
And then the other thing Substack has is it has this thing called pretext.
Okay.
So
where do you put the subject line for the email? Where's that going? Is that like the heading where I put market report or something?
Yeah. So let me go to my dashboard and I'll just pretend to create a new post. And what I can do here is I would use that as my catchy subject line. Yeah. And then the subtitle is your email pretext. So, in some email clients, you'll see the subject line and then you'll start seeing the beginning of the email. You want to have this subtitle filled in so that people can kind of see what's coming.
Okay.
So that would be my subject line. But you can sort of, you can have a look at any of these. But now it's now can you give me some pretext? And I would say, I'll just say, give me some pretext and see. So
that's good info.
Yeah. So there you go. Ever wondered how Narrabeen got its name? So I'll put that in there. and then obviously you start writing. Now there's one more thing that this catchy subject line thing will do. Where's the oh yeah, okay, so settings, tags. So make sure you put tags in, send test email. So here we go. See these SEO options down here?
Yeah.
So your SEOs, because remember Substack creates a website, so you want the SEO to be reflective of who you want to reach. That's just, trust me on that.
Yeah.
Trust me on that without going into a lengthy, detailed explanation. So
I did try all that stuff. I was using it when I had the website, so I've got some knowledge on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we want to do here, see, it says this corresponds to the title tag on the post. So this is like the SEO that's underlying. So it's not going to affect the subject line, and it's not going to affect your post on Substack, the way that it comes up. But what it will do is it'll affect how Google crawls your site.
Sure.
So what we want to do here is we want to say something like, well, I'm going to use text blaze, right? Because that's how I do it. SEO meta, like I've got a SEO. I don't have text blaze set up here. How's about that? So I'm going to say, could you give me an SEO meta title for this post? My audience, and this is where audience is always really important. My audience, Narrabeen homeowners, real people who live in Narrabeen who are interested in real estate. Okay, so now I'm just going to click enter on that one. So we're just going to put that in there like that. Like we could put that in there. I don't know, like, oh dear, Narrabeen. I'm just thinking out loud at the moment.
Sure.
Like it's almost like what I'm doing now is if someone from our team came and said, how do I do this, Sam? Like, this is what I'd be doing. Yeah, I mean, look, like in all likelihood, the top results, manly.com, manlyaustralia.com, Wikipedia, Daily Telegraph. I don't know who this woman is. Don't know what this is, but you could possibly win, like without actually going into the whole SEO, you might even, be able to rank highly for that search term. How did Narrabeen get its name? Which is not a bad. So what I might do here is go back to ChatGPT and say, I really want something around how Narrabeen was named. Okay, so now that's better. So now we're sort of splitting our, hedging our bets. So this Narrabeen's name plus a local real estate market update, and then I can go and ask for an SEO meta description, and it sort of says here, like, okay, the recommended length for an SEO title is under 60. Yours is currently 69. So you could be even more exact and go in and take out the word update, and that might get us underneath the Google thing.
Sure.
Take that out. Yeah, there we go. Now we're at exactly 60. And now let's go back and go. I can't believe my text blaze is not working here. No, it's not working. Now, could I have a meta description of 150 characters or less? So these are just the little things that will ultimately make all the difference. Like the more content you get, there we go. So I would put that in there and then hit save. And then make sure you've got a nice featured image in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then you're all sort of set. So,
okay.
They're just like,
I did have a question around Substack. Where'd you go? There. Okay. When you see that you've had X amount of opens, from your newsletter going out, is that they've actually read it, or it's just been in their inbox?
hard to tell these days. So you probably, like, there are some email clients like LJ Hooker head office would have some sort of mail fence going on. And some of the corporate ones, they will click on every link to make sure that they're safe for everyone, like there's not malware behind the link and that the domain's not a spammy domain. But in the case of personal emails, it is likely, if you've got someone's personal email, that if you're seeing an open, it is a legit open. It's just
Okay.
really hard to with corporate emails these days.
Yeah, well, because the people I'm sending to are people that I've been sending, things to for a considerable amount of time. So no surprise when they receive something else from me, but in a different format. Because out of the, what was it, I don't know, 1,300, it looks like 900 have been opened. And
Yeah,
that's with days. So that's pretty good, I would have thought.
That's incredible. That's really good because, like most marketers would consider, an open rate of 25% good.
Yeah, because sorry, like it's got a couple of stats here. It says, here's what it says. It says total views around 900, 1.26 recipients, and 43% open. What's the difference between views and open?
In Substack's language, views would mean views of I don't know, because normally maybe views refers to views of the website, but you might just need to Google that one. Yeah. Open may mean email opens, and views may mean views of the website.
Okay, I was kind of thinking could be that, or could be that they've viewed the email and then they've opened something in the email.
Yeah, they might have actually clicked on something on the website. Have a look at the subscriber report. I'm just trying to have a look at one of my posts.
Even the 43% still sounds pretty good. When you consider how many phone calls you make in a day and people never pick up, and then these days they even have messages. Don't leave me a message, and I may only read the text. Send me a text and I may read it.
Yeah, 100% recipients delivery rate. So the last post I did on Substack had 75 recipients. The delivery rate was 100%, but it was viewed 118 times. So it might mean that engagement rate. So you should see under here, like under posts, like you might get, it should look similar actually. So you should have an overview of where people came from on this particular post. And then you should have something like how readers found your post, which is important for you to look at moving forward. And then the engagement stats. So this has sort of got like an open rate of 74% and a click-through rate of 8%. And it tells me who clicked on a link. So this is that, the magic, when I say, like, look at who clicked on what. I'm not sure if you can tell here. Yeah, I would, like have a look at post stats, edit post details. Yeah, so here's where it shows me who's clicked what. So she's had 9 opens, 7 opens, 7 opens, 5 opens. Just want to see who clicked something. Here we go. So I can see, so you can actually drill down onto your subscribers.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And so now I can see every link he's clicked on in all the emails I've sent. So that was, like how I said to you, I think it was last week or the week before, if you're sort of sending out these emails, what you want to do when you've got time and a cup of coffee and whatever is go back and have a look at who clicked on what, because it will give you some inkling as to what they're thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you can go, oh, hey, just thinking about you. What are you thinking about? Selling?
How often? Because I didn't, send out these emails that often, because, the more often you send them, the more people cancel out.
Not if they're good. Not if they're good. They won't.
Okay.
The things that so what I would do now, like the next thing I would do is I look at your email and go, all right, what's my template? Because all the big newsletters, how they get big is they actually template their newsletters. So it might be something like, oh, no, not that. I don't have a presentation running at the you might want to do something like, this was something I always used to do, is I used to prep the page. So if your newsletter, I'm going to say do I have a new post set up? New post, text post. So what we might do is we might go, our first section is the TLDR section, which is like bullet point, let's just go bullet point. Okay. Whatever your 4 points are, Yeah. And then you might have something like, fun fact about Narrabeen. And then you might have latest market info. Then you might have, remind me what you did have. You had some core logic stuff. You had a few of your latest listings. You might have something like, you might have some sales results or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, if you've got that sort of templated, and then you might say at the end, thinking about buying or selling or whatever it happens to be, book a time with me.
Yeah, and you just brought up another question with some of the photographs, the images that's got to say get a free market appraisal. Should I put a link under that, even though that image is a link?
Yep. Yes.
Or say, yeah, because I don't know they're clicking on the pictures just because it says something.
And some people, they'll look for the actual.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, like if you've got all of this sorted out, like so, why is it doing that? Did I press Shift Return? That was dumb. And then copy this off somewhere, like copy it to a Google Doc or your notepad or something like that. So that every time you come to write a newsletter, it's not the overwhelming blank page. You've actually, and it will actually start getting you through this a lot quicker.
Yes.
And then a further ninja tip that I kind of use is, okay, so let's just say this is a fun fact about Narrabeen. I would put my ChatGPT prompt in here. So, you could go to something like, I want a fun, or let's just see, I'm a real estate agent and I'd like a fun fact about Narrabeen's history to begin my newsletter each week. Give me 10 fun facts.
Narrabeen's actually interesting. There is a lot of history that no one even realizes happened at Narrabeen.
Yeah. You'll engage, particularly if you've got an older audience. I bloody love it.
Yeah.
Or if you can find some old images of things.
Yeah, no, I've been collecting them for years because of that. Yeah. I used to on the drop cards, you put the drop cards out when you used to print them up yourself, and you'd have something salesy on one side, then on the back would put a little history thing. People would collect them not because of what I had on the other side, because of the history part.
Okay. There we go. How's that? Surfing fame. Narrabeen Beach gained international recognition when it was mentioned in the Beach Boys song Surfing USA.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're sort of using ChatGPT like that, I would actually sort of, put these templates in there, and then you're actually not just sort of engaging your brain in this, you're actually sort of like, let's just say you were to get an assistant or get somebody else to write your newsletter, like there's very little training to do.
Yeah, that's good. Good tip.
So that's how I would do that. And then finally, like, have you got Calendly or Reclaim or any of those things installed?
Yes and no. I've used them and then not used them.
Yeah, so, like maybe I think you can get Reclaim for free. Well, there's another one that you can get through AppSumo where you just pay once and that's it. But I would always have some sort of a call to action, if you'd like an appraisal or a marketing plan or whatever it happens to be, just have some action there at the end.
Yep. Okay. Very good.
How's that? I used to show up, be the only person to show up. Hey.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good for me.
Yeah, let them know. All right. Well, I am going to run, but I hope that was useful. And I don't know how this recording gets delivered, but I might end the room and see, and you might have your own personal recording.
Even better.
Even better. All right. Take care. Have a good one. And
keep
up the action taking. It's awesome.
Good on you, Sam. Thank you. Bye-bye.